Why are photographers so expensive? If you've been shopping around for a wedding photographer, you might have had a little bit of a sticker shock when you looked at the price tag. Well, I'm here to tell you today that there's several reasons why a photographer for your wedding can cost so much. First, let's talk about skill and experience. That creativity and artistry might come natural to some photographers, but in all honesty, photography is a pretty tough art form and it took a lot of practice for them to be that good at it. And if you're looking for a photographer that has been in the business for a while and has a great reputation, you're gonna have to be prepared to pay for that experience. There's a lot of technical knowledge that comes with photography. So everything from really having a good understanding about lighting to also understanding the equipment and also being able to use the editing software all can come at a price. And speaking of equipment, that's another reason why photographers can be so expensive. If you're going to be a professional photographer, you're going to need a good camera, and those aren't cheap. But you're also going to need multiple different types of lenses, lighting equipment, tripods, and then backup equipment because if your camera fails on a wedding day, there's honestly no excuse for you not to have wedding photos delivered to your client. So photographers can have thousands upon thousands of dollars invested in just their equipment that they have with them on the day of a wedding. And then they come home to thousands of dollars worth of equipment and computers that help them edit your wedding after the day's over. Another reason photographers are so expensive is risk. So they take risk every time they take a deposit from a couple that the wedding is going to happen because if it doesn't and the clients cancel, then that photographer is out the rest of the wedding fee and they may not be able to book that date again. There's also risk in them delivering the wedding photos. So there's no second chances on getting a great wedding picture. So there's a risk that the client might be unhappy with their pictures and also that just something might happen to the photos in general. So usually photographers have tons and tons of different backups for their photos so they can't just get wipe cleaned on accident from a computer, but there's a risk in that in them being responsible for your pictures. Another reason photographers are so expensive, labor. So a photographer might have an assistant on site to help them the day of or even a second shooter. But there's another type of labor. Photography can be pretty physically demanding. So I spoke with one photographer that told me her Fitbit told her that she walked between 7 and 10 miles on an average wedding day. And we both know that weddings tend to be in the summer, in the heat, and outdoors. So imagine you're paying a professional to walk around in the heat with you all day and carry a ton of equipment. The next reason why photographers are so expensive, time. Not only the time that they spend with you during your wedding day, but also travel time to and from the venue, time spent scouting locations, client consultations, client meetings, time waiting for clients that aren't ready or are late for appointments, and then also the time editing photos. So one day of pictures can turn into 1 week of editing quite easily. And we haven't even talked about the time spent marketing, answering emails, and just general office hours. Another reason why photographers are so expensive, overhead. So it costs money to be in business. So you're going to want your photographer to have things like general liability insurance, equipment insurance, car insurance, and I've even had a photographer tell me that she had insurance in case a client was unhappy with her photos. You're also going to want somebody that has all the appropriate licenses, so a business license, and sometimes photographers need certain permits. So for example, if you want to have photos taken in the Smoky Mountain National Park, there's a permit that the photographers are required to have and it costs money and has to be updated every year. Another overhead would be studio space. And even if the photographer works from home, there's still costs involved in that for things that they have to have in their office like internet access. Another example of why a photographer is so expensive is advertising. It wasn't just coincidence that you found that photographer online. They probably advertised or marketed in some way. So whether it be a bridal show, paying for online listings, Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, magazine ads, or just blogging and social media in general, that photographer probably spent some money and definitely some time in making sure that you could find them. Another reason photographers are so expensive, they're self-employed. So there's some business services that they might not be a pro at, so they're probably going to hire a pro. So for example, a lawyer to create their contracts and an accountant to help them with their taxes. And of course, there's certifications and associations that they're going to want to be part of to build their brand, but also to build trust between the client, that's you, and them. And those certifications and associations cost money. And then with weddings, there's a seasonality of work. So you charge more for the weddings that are during wedding season when you actually know you can book a lot. So in the end, there's several reasons why a photographer can be pretty expensive. So don't let that multiple $1,000 price tag get you too surprised whenever you see it. It's not just for one day that they're taking photos. You're asking for at least a week of their life, and they didn't just drop into your lap that easily. They worked really hard to make sure that you were able to find them when you figured out that you needed a wedding photographer.